get to the money. Gotta get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. So you know that I'm on it. Gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and me. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. And gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and they. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money.
Welcome to another episode of Drinking After Dark, a podcast where we discuss random topics while having a few drinks. I'm your host, Darius, and as always, drink responsibly. And y'all make sure y'all follow Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe to Drinking After Dark podcast YouTube channel. Tonight, I have a very special guest with me. He's family. Yes, we might not look alike, but he is family. He's my cousin. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but I'm glad he agreed to come on this platform with me. We're gonna have a lot of fun. A lot of fun right now. Welcome to the podcast, my cousin Droski. What's going on?
What's going on, cuz? It's definitely a pleasure to be on the show, man. Without a doubt. Like I say, anytime.
Well, I'm glad that you're on, man. And before we go any further, I gotta give a huge shout out to my sponsor, Joe Shakinab and Shakinab.com. Go visit Shakinab.com for services, monthly updates, and contact information. Once again, visit Shakinab.com, promoting leadership and scholarship. So, Joe, man, what you drinking on tonight?
Tonight I'll probably say we on a little bit of rum, a little Bacardi. 8-year aged.
Okay. And tonight, y'all know what I'm on. I'm on my Crown Royal Vanilla. I'm drinking it straight tonight because usually I drink it with Dr. Pepper cream soda, but I'm drinking it straight tonight. So, Joe, man, why don't you go and introduce yourself, man, and let the people know a little bit about you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, my name is Dro. Some people call me Droski. Real name Pedro. And like you said, we fam. We go a long way back. Been a long time since we talked, but like I said, it don't make no difference. Anytime I'm down to do whatever. So, like I said, as soon as you sent me the invite, that's why I was like, of course, without a doubt, especially when it comes to talking about sports and how some people like to avoid certain situations and certain debates. So I'm always down for it, man. I'm always down.
All right, let's go and get into it because if y'all don't know, for the people out there listening, so the most anticipated fight, if you're a boxing fan, if you're a fight fan, the most anticipating fight that was pretty much in talks was the Bud Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. fight. Now that is dead in the water. Bud Crawford is fighting somebody that we don't know in December 10th.
You said somebody we don't know.
Exactly.
Not Spence.
Give me your viewpoint. Just tell me how you feel about that. Because I'm probably going to unleash, but I'm going to let you go first.
Of course. I feel like with the whole situation, I feel like they did a lot of talking. They talked the fight up like they were supposed to, did the promotion and everything like, how they should. But they also like guaranteed that there wouldn't be none of that, this tiptoeing around, no contract dodging. Especially we can make the fight happen because there was no reason that the fight shouldn't happen right now. It wasn't like the same thing when it was Pacquiao and Mayweather where there's a promoters were actually the biggest problem why that fight couldn't happen. Right now, both of these fighters run everything around them. The only thing I look at is I feel like they're both scared. As far as what they show, I'm not saying that they're scared, but as far as what they're showing, like yeah, they talked all this up. But you're kind of showing, not even scared, you're just showing signs of shying away from actually trying to fight each other because neither one of y'all want to take that O or that, should I say L. Either one of them do.
I agree. Now, I'm okay. I got this crown in my system now, so now I'm about to unleash.
I feel you.
This is the reason why boxing sucks. All right. This is the reason why I have like respect for a Triple G and Canelo, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, because they didn't duck these guys, right? They fought them multiple
Everybody.
times,
And as much
right?
stuff as people talk about Deontay Wilder, and we seen what happened off his return, like and
Oh
it
yeah,
wasn't he wasn't even you could tell that he wasn't trying to knock dude out. Like that was literally just a punch he threw to say get off me, and dude was asleep.
he was asleep. First round gone. My problem is with boxing is that we don't get the fights that we want when we want them, right? And you got too many people that it's too many people that's involved in boxing. Too many promoters. Listen, these boxing organizations, they're gonna have to probably step in and say, no, this is who you're gonna fight, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you, Bud Crawford hasn't had an opponent that we could say
Nobody.
he's number one pound for
Nobody.
pound. This is your
Period.
chance to prove. This is your chance to prove to the world that you deserving of the number one spot. Errol Spence, I think Errol Spence wanted to fight him.
And Aaron Smith, and like even leading off the point or biting off, should I say? Like I said, I don't mean to cut you off, but biting off what you said about who Terrence Crawford fight. Errol Spence has actually fought competition, ex champs, people who are actually pound for pound, this and that. Or but Terrence Crawford, like you said, like you can't really name one fighter that he's fought that's like you said, that gives him the right to claim himself as number one pound for pound or to be in any type of leverage in these contract talks, as he was trying to say.
Exactly. And it's just at a point where the fight fans are starting to be turned off with boxing. Actually, matter of fact, we get better fights just on ESPN or like Fox than we do pay-per-view because
same thing.
Yeah, because you got a bunch of hungry fighters, trying to show the world that they belong on that big stage. Therefore, they're going to step up in competition. And you see when they step up in competition, they're going to have trouble, right? And you got a lot of these managers and promoters protecting fighters because it's a money game. It is a business. But at some point, there has to be pride.
To see if the business actually works.
There has to be pride. And think about this, right? I'm going to go back to Rocky 2, right? Let's think about Rocky 2. Apollo Creed, well, let's go back a little bit. In the first Rocky, Apollo Creed gave an unknown fighter a chance, at his title. Rocky Balboa was selected because he had a name that was marketable. That's really what it was. It wasn't his talent. He had a name that was marketable. And when he got in that ring with Apollo, we all knew Apollo was clearly outclass Rocky. But Rocky had that toughness about him that kept coming back. And then when of course, he won that first fight. The second movie, Apollo Creed wanted the rematch because he felt like he didn't really beat him.
How he felt, yeah, like you said, he felt.
It was a pride thing.
He's the best. Yes,
it was a pride.
I want to know I'm the best.
He had that dog in him. Like, no, people saying I carried this bump. No, I'm gonna do whatever I can to get him back in the ring. And you know what he did? He cut his trainer off because his trainer said, you gave him the beating of his life, and he kept coming back.
What you think gonna happen the second time?
He kept coming. Yeah. And even though Rocky won, Apollo wanted it. He was like, I'm still going to prove to y'all I'm the best. This guy is
not going to cap like I'm the best. I need to prove to y'all that I'm the best.
Exactly. This is what these fighters need to do. Stop all the talking. We all know the media. There's so much media outlets out there now. Social media is heavily involved. Stop all the talking. Get in the ring and prove that you are the best. So I'm not even gonna watch that Bud Crawford fight. Well, I might, depending on. It depends on what I have going on. If was it December? Was it December 10th? Mm-hmm. So I pretty much, if I'm not watching a Christmas movie, because that's my time when I watch Christmas movies. If I'm not watching that, I will maybe catch a glimpse of it, but I'm not gonna be so interested in it to where I'm like, yeah, this is not it. So you got too many fighters.
Who is he? Like to be honest, who like there's too many fighters for you to be fighting him. Who is this dude?
I have no idea.
Like I've never even as much as I've watched boxing, I've never heard of this dude before. I've never anything like never. The name is like unremarkable. Period. I don't even know who it is or nothing. And like you said, it's so disappointing, especially and it looks so bad on his side for you to have a fight so ready immediately after. Like literally, it wasn't even after that the fight was announced that it was trashed. It was after speculation of the fight being canceled. So you had something ready. And Spence
Yeah,
remember Spence was just saying that you know if we gonna wait this long, I could have been fought somebody in November. And then we could have fought each other in January or something if you were gonna speculate this long. So it doesn't. I mean, people, people gonna ride with the fan, the fan of the fighter that they are. But when you look at it, you can't sit here and say that Errol Spence was the one ducking. Like I said, they both still probably had something to do with it. But this man, Terrence Crawford, had a fight ready literally like a couple of days after it was announced. Like speculate, like I said, not even like officially announced that it was canceled. Like speculation. Terrence Crawford got a new fight.
he knew it. He had that backup plan ready. He knew he was gonna fight some dude that was handpicked
Come on.
that nobody's gonna watch.
Like he
Like
said, money.
this is why his fights has been on ESPN and not on pay-per-view. Because nobody's gonna pay to see you fight somebody that we don't know. And the fact that who really started this crap? When Floyd and Manny, when they were pretty much both at the height, both of them at the top of the boxing chain, nobody got that fight until it was like too late. We got it.
I feel like the only reason why that happened then because boxers weren't really making money like they are now. Like they were
No,
literally getting paid for pennies on the dollar. Like even Mayweather, yeah, Mayweather was making money, but people didn't even realize Mayweather wasn't even making a lot of money until after he retired. Like all that money Mayweather stuff he talked about in his promotions, he didn't start making major money until after. But as far as off of just the fight alone, and like you said, I'm not trying to make excuses because they should have fought in their prime. But I feel like that, and that's why I said that leads back to the Terrence Crawford. They're too scared to take that L because they know once they take that L, that money's gone.
all right, so let's take these two fighters, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're welterweights. Let's put them in the 80s. You think they're gonna duck a Sugar Ray Leonard?
Well,
No.
let me put it this way. Floyd Mayweather didn't have to duck anybody. He only ducked because he wanted the money. There's nobody on the planet that could have competed with Floyd Mayweather at all. Not even
But
close.
on his way up, he didn't duck. On his way up, because you gotta remember,
That's what I'm just going off of the perspective that a lot of people like to look at Floyd Mayweather because Floyd Mayweather never ducked nobody. People don't understand this. The same way that people try to say that Floyd Mayweather can't knock nobody out, that means you've never watched his whole career. You've never seen young Floyd Mayweather when he used to knock everybody out. The only thing that changed about him was he started being more about the money, and like you said, it's just too much because it started being more about the money and him not hurting himself. But you gotta, I can understand that because ain't no fighter, don't no fighter need to, take all that damage. But the thing I feel like the biggest gripe against Floyd Mayweather when it comes to people is with Pacquiao. Like you said, they did duck each other at the top, but there's nobody in their right mind that really believes that Pacquiao would have beat Floyd Mayweather. There is no way, dog. Like as far as ducking, that's different. I feel like that's not the same thing as what's going on with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence now. Like you got two dudes who grew up in the same camps. They sparred the same fighters. They've been everything about them has been said. Even the folklore that you hear in sparring and how they hit and their power and all this, everything is the same about both of them. They both talk mess. They've been on camera, did this, and that. You never seen that with a Manny Pacquiao and a Floyd Mayweather. And then even at the same time, like you said, let's put it this way, because when it came to your Triple G point, I feel like Triple G is overrated because he never fought anybody other than Canelo.
Yeah, he also didn't have nobody in his division either.
There was plenty of people, just like Canelo. Canelo is also ducking too. Like everybody like to talk about him, but everybody ducks the black fighters in that weight division.
Oh, who was in their division? Like because were they middleweight?
Okay, what they had, what was it? Just I think it was the third fight or the fourth fight they just had or something like that.
The third.
Yeah, like I said, that's too many for them. They like 40 something years old, and Canelo has never had any. But he's never fought. And okay, I'll put it this way: because they're like middleweights. You got all these Charlos, you got these Spences, you got Eunice, you got Enos Jr., you got all these other black, like you said, black hungry fighters who that you could fight in that weight class, but instead you fight these bums. Or you're gonna do a rematch against each other, knowing that it's gonna be the same thing. Because the thing about it, I tell people, Canelo wasn't as good as he was until after he fought Floyd Mayweather, and he literally tries to fight just like Floyd Mayweather fought after he got his butt whooped. Canelo didn't fight like this before that fight. He didn't have his hand up and all this shoulder moving his head and doing all that. He fought just like a Mexican, like everybody say when it comes with the Mexicans, they come in there and they try to do that. But when it
Yeah,
came
they
to
come in
Canelo,
head first. Yeah, they come
yes,
in head first. Yeah.
and Canelo, he wasn't completely like that, but he still kind of had that mindset. But after Floyd Mayweather tagged him up in that fight that they had, he took his belts. And like you got to think, you know how much bigger Canelo is than Floyd Mayweather?
Well, yeah.
That people don't understand. I was like, for him to whoop him, like, okay, yeah, you can say, everybody thinks that because the fighter's bigger, you can bully him. Okay, we seen that. But now, even after that fight, like, it's a fact. Canelo has literally tried to emulate exactly what happened to him in that fight with Floyd Mayweather, as far as the shoulder rolls and blocking, blocking the jab, or should I say that, the lead hands. He never did that before. The Philly
Nah.
shell was built into him after that fight because he knew he didn't want to get hit like that no more. Even in the
Well,
Golovkin fight, because everybody say, yeah, this and that, and this is why I say Golovkin's power is overrated, because we've seen Canelo hurt before, and Golovkin has hit Canelo cleanly a lot. We've never seen him wobble. You've never seen him drop. Nothing.
well, Triple G was never known as a power puncher per se. Not to the point where like you compared him to other like who made a name off of their power.
Golovkin, remember, that's why they called him Triple G, because you remember he took a lot of punches. He led with his head because nobody could hurt him, supposedly. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, because like I said, he ducked all the black fighters. So when you look at every other fighter that fights, like I said, it's not even to be biased on anything, but when you look at how like Mexicans, everybody else throw punches, it's like it's so formal. There's no power behind it. And Canelo himself, he don't know how to throw a punch. Like when he throws it, it lands on the head like this when it should be landing like that. Like he doesn't know how to turn it over. When you look at the Charlos, you look at Eunice, you look at Spence and people, and they're literally in the weight class. Like these fights could have been easily made, especially the Charlos in their younger ages. That fight was in front of Canelo and Triple G at one point. They both turned it down.
Oh well, like you said, there's a business behind it, and
Hey,
sometimes they, doesn't,
yep.
you know, it is what it is. But the point of the punching thing, I can understand why he was punching like that, because you hear fighters breaking their hand, you know.
But you'll break your hand quicker doing that. If you don't turn it over, you'll break your hand quicker by hitting with your pinkies.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You know, so that's why they tell you to turn it over. That's how people get like boxer fractures, where you break like the side of your hand, like it'd be fractured. You can heal it up, but it's still gonna hurt every time you hit something, no matter what. Because I have one now.
Well, here's like if you take that same situation with Bud Crawford and Errol Spence, it's the same thing with Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. They doing all that talking. Like
Right?
but see, I don't care about the talking anymore,
I want to
right?
see it.
We want to see it. Are y'all going to make this happen? Forget the money. I mean, y'all going to get paid regardless because people going to pay to see this fight, right? Maybe y'all can have something set up in y'all contracts to where after the fight, who gets what, who knows, right?
Yep.
But get in there, y'all going to do all that trash. If y'all was out there in the street, y'all would have settled it right then and there. But no,
Yeah,
y'all not
ain't no
doing that.
walking away from that.
Go ahead, get in the ring. Tank, who have you fought? Ryan, who have you fought? I mean, come
Like,
on.
because neither one of them really fought anybody. Or should you say anybody who's worth talking about? And like at the same time, I feel like if they did fight, it wouldn't go past 3 rounds. I feel like Tank would definitely mess Ryan Garcia up. But like you said, we still need to see it. Like y'all been doing all this talking, jibber jabbing back and forth, you know, and like especially when it comes to that fight, because Tank has no promoters over him. because you remember he used to be behind Floyd and back behind, all that, but he's not anymore. Like he's literally on his own. He's not behind PBC, none of that. So when it comes to tank making fights, there should be no issues. That's how I
Right.
look at it. Unless you got somebody like a Ryan Garcia, and I feel like this is the same situation. It may be the same situation with Errol Spence. You got somebody like Ryan Garcia trying to ask for way more money than they deserve, or trying to ask more money than me. And like, yeah, like you say, you can have all the Terrence Crawford fans in the world that you want. I don't care what nobody say. He does not deserve more money than Errol Spence in that fight when it goes 50-50. Whatever the split is for fighters, he does not.
I agree. Because like you said, the roadmap clearly suggests that Errol Spence has fought
way better opposition.
Way better in those that we know. He got in the ring with and he beat.
Exactly. Not people we don't know. People we know, like you said, people we actually know, like Alara. Like he's actually beating people. Like you can't.
He beat Danny Garcia too, right?
Yeah, he beat Danny Garcia. He beat Mikey Garcia. He beat, like I said, he's literally he's beat the top. Like you can't sit here and you can't ask for money to him, dog. He's literally actually fought people. You have fought nobody. There's nobody that you can name that Terrence Crawford has beat other than Benavidez, and his knee was fucked up in that fight. He had a whole knee brace on. He couldn't move or nothing.
Did. And he knocked him out in the later rounds too.
And later rounds. And he was getting tagged. He couldn't come in on Benavidez because he was throwing them power shots.
I think I watched that fight.
Yeah,
I think I was in,
you probably did.
I think I was in Gallenberg when I watched that fight. Was I in Gallenberg? He was fighting. I was visiting Gallenberg. I was back at the hotel, and that fight was on ESPN. And I think that was him because I'm like, this dude fighting on one leg. How you not taking this dude out?
How you ain't knocked him out? Yeah.
I mean, you knocked him out in the later rounds, but this dude literally on one leg and practically took you to the distance.
And like even like when it comes, like you say, he practically took him to the distance. And I feel the same way about what's his name? Is it David Benavidez? I think it is the brother of him. Like everybody been talking mess about him, but he's gonna get messed up when he fights somebody who can actually fight because he does not keep his hands up at all. The one thing I can say is, like you were saying about boxing and how it's been boring, but I can't lie. I don't know if you've seen the last card with the Deontay Wilder card. That card was fucking amazing. Everybody got knocked out. Everybody was fighting. Like that was a great card. Like especially when Caleb Plant, the way that he popped and set that up, he set it up the whole fight. Darrell never seen it. He set it up from round one. He started jabbing to the body.
Darrell trying to make that fight dirty. He was trying to turn it into a fight.
He was trying to wrestle. Because he knew, and he was talking all that mess, and that's why I was like, man, he over there fighting dirty. I was like, you said he's talking all this stuff, but you over there trying to tackle him and grab him and do this. Like you said, he got caught, because he thought that, like I said, Caleb Plant set it up. He was throwing jabs to the body all night, and as soon as he threw that jab, he faked like he was about to come back up. It was over with.
I didn't think he was gonna get up. The way he laid there, I thought
he was out.
He ain't getting up.
He was just as bad as Robert, or wasn't it Hellenius, whoever Wilder walked out. Yeah.
But see, the difference was, like, we all know this is like a comeback fight for Wilder. So of course he ain't gonna be in there like with the top of the heavyweights. Not right now.
I still think he's number 2. Other than Tyson Fury, I don't think anybody can beat Deontay Wilder.
There's who I don't know, because he hasn't.
They had Sanchez fight. Remember, he was on this card. Yeah, Sanchez, that Cuban guy, he fought on the card. Yeah, it was on the same card. But I still like anybody who's shorter than Wilder, who's not going to be able to tire him out with their weight. They're not going to be able to take that punch, dog. Like people, like the one thing that I hate is people try to blow off Deontay Wilder's power. Like it's literally not. He's literally the hardest puncher in the history of boxing. No matter what nobody says. Yeah, they talk about Tyson, George Foreman, and all this. No. Deontay Wilder, all he has to do is throw 3 punches out of a whole fight. Tyson, yeah, he threw about 100-something punches and didn't knock nobody out. If Deontay Wilder hits you 20 times, you're going to sleep. Unless you're like I said, like Tyson Fury size, somebody who can weigh on him and make him tired before getting hit. Yeah. But as soon as he hits you, I don't care who you are, you're going to sleep, dog.
Yeah, that's really the best way to beat Wilder. Like if you're bigger than him, you could tire him out. Because you got to remember that third fight, he knocked down Fury twice in one round.
He beat Fury. Because Fury was down for way more than 10 seconds.
Oh, well, we can argue about that.
But even in the last fight. But you right.
He got up, but see what problem was that you could tell that weight that was on him.
He couldn't handle it.
He couldn't handle it. So when he knocked him down twice, Tyson could have got back up because it wasn't as like his natural Wilder power
Weight.
Punch.
Like you said, he was heavier, couldn't move as
He
fast,
so
couldn't
was.
explode like he wanted to. Because even in the last fight, he was 20 pounds. He used to always come in about
215.
Yeah, and his heaviest was like I think like 219, 220, like back in the day. But then in that Fury fight, he was like 235, 240 or something like that.
He couldn't.
Yeah, that's a lot. He was tired in round 2. Like you could see it in round 2. He didn't want to move no more. He didn't want to run around, do nothing. Especially after you got somebody as big as Fury grabbing you and hugging you and holding on you, putting all his body weight.
Yeah. And you carrying on extra weight yourself, what makes it worse.
Yes.
Because you think about it, when you pack on muscle like that, your muscles need oxygen.
They're gonna burn it faster than fat.
Right. So that second fight, I knew he was cooked. I knew it from like the opening bell. I was like, this ain't gonna last long. I knew that one.
As soon as he started throwing like convicted punches, like when you come out, you feel each other out, you try to throw shit to see it. But when I started seeing Wilder actually trying to throw punches with conviction and actually trying to hit him and he couldn't, I was like, this fight's over with. I was like, he's gonna be tired by like round like 5.
And he tried to box like in that third fight. He tried, but
he can't. I can't lie. Deontay Wilder can't box.
He's a natural puncher. But you could tell when somebody come in the game so late as he did, it's hard to teach somebody those fundamentals. And when he has so much success knocking out fighters, it's like, yo, jab. I mean,
feel like that's what makes him so great also too, like you said, because of how late he came in the sport. And for him to be able to come in there and like you said, he ducked nobody. It wasn't no contract talk this. No, he fought everybody you put in front of him. And like literally, you can't name one fighter in the history of boxing that had 40. He has 41 fights with like 42 knockouts. Who?
Yeah, it was basically like he was like our generation's Tyson. That's what he was.
And like at the same time, a lot of people hate to hear this because, like you said, Deontay Wilder couldn't box. But like you say, if we go back in the time, Tommy Hearns couldn't box either. That's why he used to always get knocked out when he fought fighters that he needed to box again. His only advantage was he used to fight people smaller than him, like a Sugar Ray Leonard. He was way bigger than Sugar Ray Leonard. But as soon as he met Duran, as soon as he met, Hagler, people who are actually his size.
He beat Duran. He knocked his ass out.
Yeah, he did. I meant to say Hagler. Hagler fucked him up. Yeah. And there was somebody else that knocked him out too. I forgot who it was, but. And like even then, for you to be so much bigger than somebody like a Sugar Ray Leonard,
but he got hands though.
And like you said, Sugar Ray Leonard got hands too, but he don't got no defense. That's why he used to get dropped all the time too. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like even with the Marvin Hagler fight, like people, this isn't that. If you take it back, if you go back in time and you actually judge that fight how it should have been judged, and which Hagler won. Sugar Ray Leonard wouldn't be Sugar Ray he is today. Like you said, because it's situational on certain stuff. So like I tell people, like when you talk about certain stuff, like even with these fighters dodging boxing matches and stuff, yeah, we can say it's situational and this and that. I was like, but you also got to look at stuff back then. And I was like, okay, you put it that way. You say that, they duck this, and that doesn't like, because a lot of people. What I hate is a lot of like boxing fans try to sit here and say that Floyd Mayweather has no right to say he's the GOAT. Like,
let me ask you this question though. If he has that right, does Rocky Marciano also have that same right to say he the GOAT?
He never fought nobody.
He fought Joe Louis
when he was like 60.
Yeah, but who did Floyd Mayweather fight after Zab Judah in his prime?
No, he fought Zab Judah. He fought Oscar De La Hoya. He fought. There's so many fighters that, but like you said, like Triple G's, the people we don't know about. He fought all the monsters of his weight division, and in his prime, whooped them. Not even he fought Diego Corrales, the people that you talking about the Mexican monster that everybody used to talk about. And remember, he messed up Castillo when they fought. But you know what happened when he fought Mayweather? He got knocked down in the 10th round easily. That fight looked like they should have never been in the same ring together. And that's why I said people gotta understand. It's like, you say this, okay. And then, the fight was over with Pacquiao. Yeah, they fought. I was like, yeah, it was older. I was like, but you got to think Mayweather's older than Pacquiao. So if they were younger, you really think there would have been a difference? It would have been worse. The same thing they said when he beat Arturo Gatti. when he knocked him out. Remember, Arturo Gatti was knocking everybody out. He whooped Miguel Cotto. He's fought the best of the best.
Well, he didn't. Well,
He knocked Arturo.
well. When it comes to Arturo Gatti, the one fighter that comes to my mind with him is Mickey Ward. That's the one guy that I think about.
Oh, we'll put it this way. Remember Ricky Hatton?
Oh man, that dude was over. He got exposed.
He only got exposed by Mayweather. Remember it, because even after Mayweather knocked him out, remember he was undefeated. He didn't lose to Pacquiao until a couple years later. He was still whooping everybody, and they were still saying the same thing. That's how he got the Pacquiao fight. But now that Mayweather whoops and they overrate, the only reason why they say that because he's so good. He makes everybody look bad. Everybody. It doesn't matter who you talk about. Even Maidana, you can say, yeah, Maidana, but you got to go back to the point we were talking about with Darrell. He was wrestling.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Maidana, because if you go back to my Apollo Creed point,
hungry.
Floyd wanted that rematch, not Maidana, because I watched that first fight and I felt like it was more of a draw than it was a decision for Floyd, because I felt like that was Floyd's worst performance in his entire career. That one fight,
without a doubt.
That's why I said, because Maidana was catching him with shots that I never seen Floyd take.
And like I said, he still won, but like
I felt like he won based off the name more so than his actual performance.
He won off because you still got to look at the way that Maidana was fighting and the type of punches he was throwing. He was throwing a bunch of rabbit punches. He was doing a lot of wrestling.
Well, see, like
it's easy
I said,
for anybody to do that, you know.
Well, you gotta think too. It's really not about with that particular fight. It's, you know, of course, Mexican fighters, they're gonna have more activity.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how they.
I think he's Argentinian
trained.
to be correct, if I'm not mistaken.
Is he Argentinian?
Yeah, I think he's from Argentina, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah. But the way he came at him, that particular fight, you know, I felt like he had a game plan. Like, you know what, we're gonna put this pressure on him. We're gonna put this, because he knew he was kind of bigger than Floyd, so we're gonna try to, you know, wrestle with him some. And he had some effect with him on that. And even though Floyd
he landed way more cleaner punches, everything.
More cleaner punches.
And like, even going off your argument, like you said, you felt like he won, but if he did, so how he didn't land more punches?
I said it should have been a draw. I didn't say Maidana.
Oh yeah,
won.
you're right. No, you're right about that.
Yeah, I didn't say Maidana won. I said nobody.
Definitely not. Yeah, no, like
that second fight. Yeah, definitely Floyd won that fight.
Yeah, I want to see Tank Davis fight somebody like what was it? The guy that was like Maidana that he pretty much fought, that pretty much gave the same flight to Floyd to him. What's his name?
I have no idea.
He just fought him. Man, I'm gonna have to look him up. I forgot his name, but I want to see him fight again. And like I said, because it'll show a lot on that. Because like, as much as Tank Davis tries to show and try to act different, but like you said, even when it comes to that, you're definitely right when it comes to certain things, because a lot of people do try to dodge those hungry fighters, those people who are trying to beat you up the whole fight. They're not trying to fight them, dog. They don't want to fight them type of fighters. That's a fact.
Nah, but see, it'll be good for them. I always felt like
it'll be great.
Will make them better, because once they get later on in their career and they have to fight the best of the best, was you really ready to fight somebody of that magnitude?
Usually, there's always an excuse or something that comes along on the back end of it. Every time when they do end up fighting, something was wrong, something this, he was hurt. And like the only thing I can say, going off your the only reason why I can't say that the UFC has surpassed boxing is when it comes to fighters, like let me say that just as far as showing out, because they don't have nobody they can really just show out. Like yeah, they all fight each other, but they all get beat up. Everybody gets knocked out.
That's the beauty of it.
But there's no best. So we don't know. So everybody just fights. It's almost like watching street fights. Like you can go on YouTube and watch that backyard fights.
Yeah.
But but ain't that supposed to be the difference between pros and amateurs?
Well, see, here's the thing.
Looking like amateurs.
Well, here's the difference though between the two. First off, it's fighting in one sport and it's boxing in another. That's why boxers can't go into the UFC, and that's why MMA and MMA fighters can't go into boxing. It's two different sports.
Well, there's been different where boxers have actually came to the UFC and took belts. Like I said, that's why I said it's a lucky sport. But you can't say the opposite. Or what should I say? Knocked out ex-champs. Like Ray Mercer knocked out Tim Sylvia. He was old. And Ray Mercer was like 50, 60. You know, he old. You know, Ray Mercer, that's 90s.
Yeah.
So there should have been no way he was knocking him out, dog. Put him out cold. That's what but you're not gonna see
Was
that in
it
boxing.
was it actual like was it kickboxing or was it like MMA?
UFC, they were in the actual cage and he knocked him out in like the first round within the first few seconds. They came out because UFC fighters don't know. But look at Tyron Woodley. I don't matter if you can say it's fake or whatever. He still made it look like he got knocked out, and that usually happens to all UFC fighters. The only thing they can do is lay. I feel like what will make the UFC better is if they shorten the time that they're on the ground. You shouldn't be able to just lay on a dude for like the whole fucking round. That's not even fighting. You like now you're just wrestling. Then we should just be watching wrestling.
Yeah, because wrestling is part of MMA.
Yeah. Okay. So at the same time, like when you grab, what do? They break you up. If you're holding too much, like in certain situations, they break you up. And for some reason, when it comes to the ground, like Khabib, he does a lot of holding, a lot of cage grabbing. He grabs on everything to make sure he keeps you down. He doesn't do anything. I don't care what. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's great at taking you to the ground and holding you there. I understand if you were taking me down and beating me up, but you're just taking me there and holding. You didn't do what just happened to Usman where he got knocked out.
Oh yeah, I was surprised by that.
You trying to take me down and you're just holding me there. Oh, he's still doing damage. No, he's not. They don't even come out bleeding. They don't have no swollen face, no nothing. They literally look like they just left a high school wrestling match.
Well, see,
that's my problem with the UFC. Like I said, I can respect the craft on that, but that's not what the UFC is. Ultimate Fighting Championships, not Ultimate Wrestling Championships.
Well, it's everything mixed into one because you have those who come from an actual martial arts background, those come from a wrestling background, those who come from a boxing background. So you try to.
But everything is leaned more towards the wrestlers now, though. When you look at all the rules, everything is leaned towards wrestling. Period. It don't matter what you can say. Everything is leaned towards the people who can take you down and just hold you there. Because people used to talk mess about Jordan St. Pierre, and I always said he was garbage. And as soon as he actually started fighting people and got off them steroids, what happened to him? He got beat up. Same thing with Anderson Silva.
Well, Anderson Silva, he built that. He was the face of that company.
He was on steroids the whole time.
I never heard him being on steroids.
Yeah, look at it. I'm telling you, he was on it. He tried to say it was otherwise. He was on performance enhancing drugs.
I never heard that. I'm not gonna speculate something I never heard.
Hey, I feel you on that. Ain't no point, especially if you don't know. If you never seen it, you can't. Like you said, I can't talk on nothing that I've seen. But he's even admitted to it. Like I didn't know that those were. He said he didn't know they were like contaminated supplements. Is what he said.
A lot of times they don't because they take stuff without asking questions. And you see that in all the sports, like all the sports, they taking stuff and I didn't know, this was like.
I feel like it's like you said, it's that money, and it could be the organizations doing other stuff, like you said, to where they don't know. Because like we don't know what we taking. They give us a pill. It's like, okay, this is what you need. I don't know what the hell that is.
Listen, John Jones was whooping dudes on crack.
I remember that. Yes, without a doubt.
He was whooping dudes on crack. Like, no, here's okay.
He was a crackhead out there smacking motherfuckers.
Lawrence Taylor, who a lot of people would
didn't know he was on that.
Would say is the greatest football player of all time, right?
Mr. Line himself.
He was on crack, knocking out quarterbacks. Like he was dominating on the field with crack in his system. That was not crack. That was performance enhancing drugs.
They just try to tell you it was crack.
It was.
Well, a lot of people don't understand that even with these drugs that you take, the same chemicals there in crack is pretty much the same chemicals there in some of those drugs that you take.
Yeah,
which is why it kind of gives you the same, effect, or you act certain ways, Like I mean, I definitely feel you on that. Like I said, at the same time, it's sad. Like you said,
we just want to see the best of the best.
Yes, because it was so exciting to see Wilder and Fury fight, like to see the actual two best heavyweight. And they, like you said, they did it. And when after the first fight, what happened? They got that second fight made immediately. Nothing done between.
Oh yeah, because it was a draw the first fight.
Mm-hmm. Which that's why I said Tyson Fury lost. Like you watched the fight, he didn't get up in 10. He did not get up in 10, dog. And even in the third fight, look at the very first knockdown, he still didn't get up at 10. You see the ref, he tries to break up Wilder, and then he recounts, and Fury was still down at like 11 or 12.
Well, see, here's the thing. That's why they got a actual judge on the side that actually counts that. So he go down.
He didn't pay attention to the judge.
Because,
he literally just turned around and was like 7, 8. I was like, dog, he been down for like 10 seconds.
Because if you go back in history, if you go back between Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas was down.
He was
more
down
than
for
10
like
seconds.
20 seconds. He was down for it seemed like a minute because Buster Douglas was down for a very long time. Yeah, no. Like you said, if you want to be technical, he didn't. Tyson did not lose that fight because, like you said, Buster Douglas is down for a very long time, though, and especially with the whole mouthpiece and the referee trying to break it up and the whole Tyson, Mike Tyson back. I was like, dog. I was like, he been counted out. He still. I was like, it been 10, and he's still trying to pick his mouthpiece up. And you talking about 8? Like, come on, man. But like you said, but that's part of the sport, though. It's the same, same thing in any sport when it comes to lucky plays or certain challenges where a player, like even football, a player dragged his foot in. Some people feel like he didn't, but he did. And I feel like it's the same thing in boxing. The only difference is when it comes to fighting, like people like to see fighting a lot more than any sport. I don't care what nobody says. You watch boxing or you watch basketball or anything, but if people are actually getting hit and getting knocked out, people want to see that more than anything.
Well, they like violent sports anyway. That's why That's why football's number one in this country because
and that's why they're trying to change it.
Well, I have my issues with football anyway because I just felt like I'm all for protecting like the receivers, defenseless receivers when they up in the air, they reaching, they getting hit. I'm for that. But the rules when it comes to the quarterback position
is bullshit.
Is ridiculous. They got to stop it because
you can't even get at the quarterback. Like you almost don't even want to sack him because you don't know if I sack him if I'm going to get a flag.
You can't even put your weight on him.
Nothing.
When you tackle him. It's like you can't even swing him down no more because Tua messed that up for everybody because they lied to say it was his back, knowing clearly it was his head.
Everybody's seen that. That's why I said trying to say it was his back. Come on. I was like, he's asleep. That ain't his back. If it's his back, then he's paralyzed.
Yeah.
So it's not his back. He clearly
you're not stumbling when you're walking back to a huddle either. Because when you saw that first game, he got up, he shook his head off. I said, nope, that's head injury he's there. Hurt.
The first thing he did was like shake, like because you can tell he was trying to straighten himself out, but like you said, that also goes back to the money, because if that was the case, because like they said, supposedly the NFL has a concussion protocol.
Yeah,
they're supposedly pro, so something like that, you'll see that immediately. You seen that as soon as you watch the game. So not alone you getting him by yourself and actually testing him out, make sure he doesn't have a concussion. So for you to be a doctor and sit here and say he doesn't,
yeah.
And then he got hurt again. Remember, he got hurt again the next week. I think with another head injury.
No, it was the same week because they played Thursday night.
It sure was. It sure was. Yes.
That's why he should have been out the first game, but he definitely should have not played the Thursday night game. But I would say this though. If you go back and you watch that Thursday night play, that was all Tua's fault because he had a clean pocket. He held the ball way too long.
And he just sat there.
And then the defender did what he was supposed to do.
He just tucked the ball that got slammed.
Yeah, he swung him. He didn't even slam him. He just swung him.
You're right.
And just so happens, his head hit the field.
And when you look at the hit initially, it doesn't even look that hard, like at all. Like when you very first see it, like it doesn't look that hard until you actually see it in slow mo. Like when you very first see the play, it just looks like like any play when somebody runs past, they kind of grab him and sling him down. But when you see the play, you don't see how hard he actually hit. Because when I first seen it, I was like, damn, how's he knocked out off of that? Like that was even before he was carted off the field. Like as soon as he hit the ground, you could, like you said, you could tell he was knocked out because he was stiff.
Yeah, he locked his fingers up.
And yeah, he did. He started throwing a crip. No,
Yep.
but he when he hit the ground, I was like, it didn't look like he hit the ground that hard. But then, like you said, when you see it, especially with the way that he landed, and there was only one way for the energy to go out, and that would, like you said, straight out the top of his head. And that's pretty much what happened, man. And it's sad for them. Like I said, it's just so sad that these players allow themselves to still get put on the field after that. Because he just spoke up. Even during
Yeah,
you know how you feel. You know you got a concussion, dog. Like I don't care what you say.
like,
You're gonna have a headache for like a week and a half, if not more. So
well, that's
and
where like the coach has to like protect his players from themselves. But he didn't do that. So that's why I said, yeah, it starts with Tua, but the doctors and the coach have
coaches,
to
the
say,
organization, period.
really, honestly, the doctors actually have the ultimate say where the
Mhm,
player could go back in. And after him is the coach. The coach
mhm.
says, no, you're not going back in.
Because
We
if it would
don't
have
need
been
these.
Brady, he would have been benched immediately.
And here, I'm glad you brought up Brady because
Mhm.
I think the Falcons season done changed off of that BS call
And
they
I'm a Falcons
got,
fan. I hope so. I'm
because
hoping.
that was a BS call.
It
Everybody knew it,
was. That should have been a dub.
and they were. I'm not saying they would have won,
Yeah,
but
but
they
you
would
know it should
have
have been
they would
different.
have got that opportunity because they were on that comeback trail in that fourth quarter. They should have had that opportunity to at least get the ball back and see what can happen. Now, if they don't take the lead, they don't win. Okay, so be it. But they were robbed of opportunity because of some
Even
BS
showing,
rule.
yeah.
That's why I said, the
And it was,
quarterback position.
and then even the player that the tackle that he made on Brady, it didn't break any of the rules that going off
No,
of
it
what they
didn't.
did. Nothing at all. It didn't break nothing. He didn't try to, no ill intent. He didn't even put his body weight on. Like when he's tackling, you can see him rolling off as he's tackling.
Exactly. Because he
Like,
landed on the defender.
man.
That's what happened.
Mhm.
He did exactly what the refs said. This is what we want y'all to do. And he did that. And it was like this referee just like threw the flag because of what happened to it. No, he didn't get slung down. He wrapped,
Rolled and fell. Or fell
rolled
and
and
rolled,
fell.
should I say.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. And unfortunately, that's what happened. And that's why I said, these quarterbacks, they gotta stop treating quarterbacks as quarterbacks and start treating them as football players.
I was just about to say that they got to change their outlet. I understand that. Well, I'll put it this way, because they try to protect the quarterback. I was like, but for what? The quarterbacks weren't the main ones getting hurt. It was receivers who were the ones that were getting knocked out from all of the targeting and leading with the crown. It wasn't the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks, yeah, sometimes they might get, like you said, I can understand the body weight rule, but
No, I don't understand that body weight rule. Get your ass in that weight room and
no, I feel you on that. Like I said, but I'm saying like if they were going to try to put anything like out of all their, because like I said, none of their rules make sense to me. But if there was any of their rules out of all of them, if there was some bounds by it, I can understand. Not wanting a 300-pound man to follow you, but at the same time, that's not how it should be. Like you said, this is football. Get your ass in that weight room. This big motherfucker gonna come up the line. He's gonna hit you. So be ready for it. Stay in the pocket. Do what you have to do. And like you said, I just hate how you can't touch a quarterback at all, man. Like it's so bad. Like you said, it's so bad, man. And then they wonder why like players don't get sacks like they used to, because ain't nobody trying to hit the quarterback. And then all of a sudden my team is losing all this because I can hit them in
well,
the knee, and they talk about it. It was an ill intent because I went too low. Like that don't even make no
well, I
sense.
agree. I agree with the knee rule. I agree with that
But what
because,
if I was coming from the back and I caught the quarterback's calf? Like you said, it's football. If I was can get your
well,
calf,
if he's in the pocket, he stood still, and you're
yeah.
just I could get that rule because nobody really wants to be, no player wants to
No,
get hit at the
at
knees.
all.
I don't care what.
Nobody wants to be hitting the knees, period.
Yeah, so I get that. But if you're outside the pocket, you're fair game. So if you don't want to take that type of punishment, one, get a better offensive line, get your protections right, and
Yep.
get the ball out quickly. That's the way you solve a problem. But you still got these defensive players. Like my team is the Steelers. We got TJ Watt. This man had 22 sacks last season.
Right now,
Still getting to the quarterback. So it's like players are still getting to the quarterback,
but a lot of
but these
penalties
quarter
and everything. They getting so much stuff. There's so much they got to go through just to get to the quarterback. Like not and it doesn't even have to deal with football. That's the bad part. When a player has to go through more than actually playing the game just to do a part of the game that he's supposed to do. Like you said, that makes no sense, man. It makes no sense at all, bro.
but I think the players are adjusting because they can still get clean, hard shots
Yeah.
on a quarterback to where they like, well, dang, I ain't gotta do it this
Now
much. I'm like,
they
okay, it
definitely
kind of
are.
make it kind of make it easier on us because now these quarterbacks they falling.
The NFL
They
is
trying to
starting
get
to.
hit.
They kind of going through the same thing that the NBA went through a couple of years ago, where it started changing into a straight 3-point league. You know, everybody shoots now. It don't matter. They try to shoot. Let me say this: not even everybody shoot. They just try to. Yeah, yeah. That's how I feel. Everybody tries to shoot, but man,
Damn, look, man, look.
it's rough, bro.
Everybody wants to be
I'm
a
looking at the
Steph
Lakers right
Curry.
now. They over here looking goofy.
They
Like I said, I'm a LeBron fan, but the reason why the Lakers are garbage is not his fault.
it is his fault.
I don't think so.
He asked for Russell Westbrook. Let me ask you a question. Yeah, he did ask for him. He
At
asked
first, yeah, but then there comes a certain point to where you can take back what you asked for.
No, you can't.
You're right.
Because we heard stories about Jordan wanting certain players, and the general manager told him no.
He didn't need certain players. There was really nobody who could play like that back then.
Okay. It wasn't that. The problem is that
there was no other players as close or even close to being as good as Jordan like there is now. Because nobody knew how to play basketball back then like that. Basketball wasn't that big. It wasn't it was international, but it's not like it is now where everybody in the world plays it. They grow up trying to train themselves from the date of birth.
Well, yeah, because they had the tools back then to when they were training. They didn't have them.
See, they had it back then too. That's why.
Not as much.
See, but that's why they used to try to get the NBA to play a lot of international teams, but they used to turn it down. The only time they played were in the Olympics. Yeah, you could say Jordan is undefeated in the Olympics, but they actually wanted they wanted to try to have it come to a point to where they were playing actual international players like teams. He only played like international players during the Olympics. That was once every 4 years. Now you look at all these players; they're playing everybody across the world. We're not just playing somebody from Chicago. That's like me being from any state, any best state or big city, and I'm saying I'm the best, but the only people I've ever played and beat are people who are from my area. I didn't beat the rest of the world. I only beat people who are from the United States.
But you start seeing that change in the 90s when they start bringing those European players.
Oh, you didn't see the change until like the 2010s.
No.
It didn't change until after LeBron.
When you go back to the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
You start seeing the trend start moving in that direction. Even though they weren't in the league, they were over there scouting, trying to get them to come to the league. So when you see a Tony Kukoc, when you see Akeem Olajuwon, when you see Drazen was it Petrovic?
Yeah, I remember him. Mm-hmm.
Who else? Rick Smith.
Dragic, Jokic, you got so many people. Who else? Even older players. What was his name? Who used to, like you said, even Dirk. Like you said, if you want to go,
Dirk came in the
but he came in the 90s. He came in the early 90s. He came during around Kobe, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it? No, it was Paul Pierce. I think it was that same draft class as Paul Pierce.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So they start seeing them. That's why they wanted to play international, because what they're really trying to do is find these top players from other countries to get them to come over. And then slowly but surely in the 2000s, they starting to come over, because when you saw with the Sacramento Kings and the San Antonio Spurs and the who else? The Houston Rockets, they start bringing the international players over, and they started that wave to where now the league now is being dominated by international players.
I can see that where they started it. The only difference, like I said, going off of what you were saying, how Jordan was actual players, but there was no reason, because nobody was playing like that back then. Nobody shot 3-pointers. Everybody's talking about how great of a shooter Larry Bird is. They don't even know he didn't even take that many 3-pointers.
No,
his 3-point, nothing.
He dominated the game just shooting with his offhand.
Yeah, because nobody else can shoot. You can't even. Okay, I'll put it this way. They like to talk about Larry and all this. Okay, they say he didn't dominate, because if you got to say that, he didn't dominate Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Who the hell did?
That's what I'm saying. So you can't say that Larry Bird dominated. They played during the same time. You got to think how long Kareem played.
But Larry Bird did get some championships off of Kareem.
he dominated. Like, yeah, when he was like I said, when they get older, like you said, we don't see the fights when they want to. It's one thing to actually dominate a player in his prime, but when they get older, they're like damn near 40, if not over. I think Kareem was like over 40 by that time.
I
He
think he
was so
retired at 40.
he had them goggles on. He was bald headed, everything. He couldn't run. He couldn't do nothing like he was. That's when Larry Bird started winning. And it's the
No,
same way.
Larry Bird won 19. Was it like his first year in the league?
Yeah, but you got to look at the team he had. It wasn't because of him. That's how I have to say. It wasn't. Everybody try to look at it like it's because of Bird. That same way everybody loves Magic Johnson. But be real, Magic Johnson literally has some of the best players in NBA history.
Also, you got to take into account there were less teams too.
Yeah, and exactly. So that's why I say. So y'all talking about how great it is. Okay, so they played less teams. They played less talent. They played lesser players, like you said, because it was smaller.
Well, actually, it was more talent if you compare it to what's now.
No.
Yeah, because it was less teams, so you have more talented players on your teams.
There were no talented players back then, dog. Okay, well, let me actually. Okay, well, so name some of the players other than Magic and off of the Boston Celtics and the Lakers. Name some players.
Off of who?
Any other team during their time. That's all that I'm saying. I say if they were talented, we would know their names.
So we're not going to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers with Dr. J, Maurice Cheeks, Moses Malone. We're not going to talk about the Rockets with
You're
Ralph
talking about
Sampson.
1 year. Like I said,
I'm talking about an entire decade.
Yeah, but during that time, the Sixers never dominated nothing. They didn't win. Like I said, that was 1 year. We're talking about actual teams who played. Moses Malone only had a few good years because he suffers from the same thing that everybody try to say that Zion suffers from, being hurt all the time. He's too big. He can't keep doing that. He can't do all that. And they used to say that about Moses all the time, especially with how he used to body people, but he never had the injury issue like Zion does. And I feel like as much as people hate on him, if Zion does not get hurt, he's going to dominate. You're not gonna be able to get no rebound over him because he's gonna body because he's like a little Shaq,
No, he's a more athletic Charles Barkley. That's what he is.
See, okay, cuz I'm so glad that you said that. I was trying to tell my boy this the other day. I told him that he reminded me of Charles because I was like, a lot of people don't know how good that Charles Barkley actually was. Like everybody just watches the show and they see him, he acts like a clown. You know, he be talking to shit sometimes, but I was like, people don't really realize how good that Charles Barkley actually was. I was like, if you go back during the time that he played, I was like, during the time, Charles Barkley, without a doubt, is a top 5 player of any time that like during his prime. You can't really, there's not 4 or 5 other players you could put over Charles Barkley.
Nah.
Like period. But people don't see that. A lot of people don't know that. They just see Charles Barkley being this clown, and they don't, especially with how Shaq be trying to roast him because he ain't got no ring. Yeah, because he never had the benefit of, well, of course he's not you, but he never had the benefit like Magic of going to a team that had all the stars, or Larry Bird that had all the stars, or even being like during Michael Jordan, where the league actually suffered during like 1990 from like 97, the league was weaker than what it was. In the 80s, yeah, it was stronger, but like from 88 to 90, like it dropped off. And then
so you saying it dropped off when the Pistons won championships?
No, that's why I said from 88 or 89, like right after the Pistons won it. Or actually, not even that, right after the Bulls won it. It was like after their second time. Because like even then, like I put it this way, people be like, yeah, well this, I was like, so why did Michael Jordan retire?
He was tired of winning.
Name one person in the history of life is tired of winning.
He was tired of winning. He had nothing else to prove.
So, okay, so he had nothing else to prove. Okay, then. So when people retire earlier, they don't make these fights. That's why I said you gotta look at it both ways, even when it comes to boxing or anything. You can't be mad when somebody retire early, like the same way people don't try to give Andre Ward his credit. They try to act like he was a bum, but he literally beat everybody, and they try to act like he didn't do nothing. He's literally one of the greatest light heavyweights ever. Mm-hmm. Half the people don't even know his name when he be now saying, like, who is that? How he talk? I was like, how you don't even know who that is? But you talking about you watch boxing, But when it, like you said, when it comes to NBA, I feel like during that time, like I can't even, like you said, no, I would take that back. I definitely said a little bit early. I would say around like 96, 97. As soon as Kobe and Shaq started coming in, that's when a lot of stuff changed for like Jordan and the Bulls, because he seen what was gonna happen, dog. Nobody retires on top. I don't care what nobody says. Nobody retires on top. Nobody. Unless you're like
Well,
you said, unless you're a
it's
quitter.
it's it's age. It's an age
He
thing.
wasn't
So
even old. He was like 35. That's not
let's
old at
see,
all, dog. He was
he was
35
born
years
in
old
30. Well,
and came
yeah.
back at 40 or 39. He wasn't even 40. I think he was 39 or 40 when he came back. He retired early, dog. That's quitting. That's what quitting is. Because now that you see that the talent level has raised, because you can't lie from 1990. Okay, so from 1990, you know the talent level is way higher by the time it was 97, 98, 99, 2000 or higher. Way higher. Especially when you see it wasn't Skinny Shack no more. It wasn't it wasn't Magic Shack. You talking about Laker Shack. And they got it on proof where Michael Jordan talking about he even pretty much admitted to himself he couldn't guard Kobe. It ain't no matter. He ain't gonna pass the ball. That little young boy, all he want to do is score because he knew he couldn't guard him. But now that Kobe, he never played against a Kobe who could actually do that because he quit before then. So it's one thing,
Well,
like you said, it's one
Jordan
thing to actually play the best, but you didn't. You seen that? No,
Jordan played against some great guards in his day.
point guards.
No, two guards.
Who?
He played against Reggie. Reggie is a great two
No
guard.
defense. All he can do is shoot. He don't do nothing, dog. He stays at like you said. What were you just talking about? How you were shaking your head?
Okay, let me
That's what Reggie acts like.
let me ask you a question. How many guys in today's league actually play defense?
Everybody. Because you got to play. You got to play full court. You don't have to guard only because you know they're going to shoot this. You know they're going to shoot as soon as they cross the half court line. Michael Jordan, he knew I'm only going to have to guard you as soon as you come to the foul line. I don't have to guard you before then. The first time he had to do that was against Reggie Miller. You seen how much trouble only Reggie Miller and the Pacers sucked. You see how much trouble they gave the Bulls in the playoffs.
That was a great team in the 90s.
Like you said.
That was a great
Jordan would get toasted today. That's all that I'm saying. Like because especially how they run around and he has to play
a prime Jordan would got toasted today with the way the rules are.
I'm not gonna say toasted, but he wouldn't be like. Let me put it. He wouldn't be a 6-time defensive MVP as far as they say. Because like I said, who did he guard?
You talking about
six times? You can't.
Six times.
Six times.
Six times finals MVP.
No, 6 times. He got. I think he got 5 or 6 Defensive Player of the Year awards. How you get that over Scotty?
So he only got 1 Defensive Player of the Year award. That's the same year he won MVP. That was in the 80s. So he got that. And then, of course, he was on the All-NBA defensive team like 9 times.
How?
So, because this man plays defense. That's why I love Kobe.
Like you said, during this time, yeah, he does. You're right. Like you said, during this time, you got to go off during the time, right? If they,
so that's why
you're right.
That's why I love like Kobe because Kobe played both ends of the court. You see,
love Kobe.
So that's why when I see Kobe, especially after the whole Shaq era, Kobe and Shaq era, when I saw Kobe.
Feel about that? Let me ask you that. How do you feel about the whole Shaq, like that whole situation? Like, how do you feel about them being like that towards each other, especially after everything they went through? I can understand differences, but for it to last so long, and then like even Shaq said after Kobe had died, he just wished he would have reached out to him.
Well, let's just be honest. Kobe wanted his own team. He was in the shadow of Shaq. Shaq was the most dominant player during that time. So
not ever.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can make an argument between. Well, yeah, he's probably the most dominant ever. If you're gonna compare him to somebody, you probably compare him to Will Chamberlain in terms of the eras they played in terms of dominance.
Or Bill Russell, yeah.
Yeah, Bill Russell don't get credit at all for nothing.
He doesn't, like you said, because people are
ridiculous.
They hoop, man. They never understand. Like I said, when I talk shit, it's because, like you said, eras. But like you said, they don't get credit. Like you said, Will Chamberlain and all that.
But it just comes to like that whole thing. Like I said, Kobe really wanted to be the man, and in order for that to happen, who do you have to get rid of to be that man? You gotta get rid of the most. You have to. And he went through a humbling experience after that happened. He went through
Shaq
it.
Didn't, but Kobe definitely did.
Yes,
like I said, even though he ended up with more than Shaq, but Shaq never. And one thing about Shaq, that's why I say he's the most dominant ever and all this. Like I said, I don't care what nobody. If you're gonna ask me for my number 1 pick of all time, I love Michael. I love LeBron, but my number one pick is gonna be a Laker Shaq because if I have him, I know that I'm gonna pass him the ball. There's not gonna be anybody in the world that's gonna stop him.
Well,
He's
you
gonna get
know,
all the boards. He gonna
if
bring down the
if
backboard on top of your head.
if Orlando would have paid him the money that he was worth, he would have been Orlando with Penny.
Yeah.
And if Penny never got hurt, that was going to take over the Eastern Conference from Jordan and the Bulls.
You ever seen where you seen an interview where Shaq said that Penny was actually better than Kobe?
I mean, yeah,
I mean, but you think that would be true? Can you see that?
I
I can't.
believe. Well, here's the thing. I believe because it took Kobe a couple of years. You know, even when he first made his first All-Star team in '98, it still took him a couple of more years to become Kobe.
Yeah.
When Penny
Under
came
Mamba.
in, when Penny came in, it was instant. It was just like automatic instant. And we all know if it wasn't for the injuries, we could say Penny Hardaway would have been top 75.
Yeah, period. I would
Because
say
he
top
was
20. If he would have never had any injuries, and like you said, if that situation would have happened, they would stay with Shaq, he would have easily been top 20, if not top 10.
because he was I mean, you gotta think point guards now, you know, you look at Ben Simmons, he's really a point guard now, right? But Penny had
He's straight up a point guard. You too tall to be a point guard, but you a point guard, dog.
but Penny was Magic 2.0. That's what he was. He was more of an athletic, a better shooter.
He was better. I feel like
he was a better passer too.
Yeah, because of how he could drive and bring the defense in and to way it makes the whole team collapse and he could just dish it out. Like you said, that just goes back to his bag. The only reason why I can give it to Kobe over Penny is because it goes back to what you said. Kobe played defense. Penny didn't play defense like that. Not like that. Not like, locking people down because if Kobe on you, they're like you said, we ain't talking about the young, but if Kobe on you, you might get locked up. You can't really say that with Penny.
I would say because the great, the best of the best. I go back to that pride thing. Mm-hmm. I believe that if he would have went against Kobe, pretty much like when he was coming into his prime, I think you would saw T-Mac play. Penny Hardaway play defense on a Kobe.
You're right. Yeah, that because he was taller than Kobe too, if I'm not mistaken.
Because here's the thing: you couldn't really guard Kobe. Let's just call it what it is. You really couldn't guard Kobe.
Same way you can't guard LeBron. You can't guard LeBron. You can't guard Michael. You can't guard Kobe. There's just certain people you can't guard.
And there's other players too, like T-Mac. You couldn't guard T-Mac. When he went down to Orlando, he got away because Vince Carter took over that team when he first came in. That was Vince Carter's team. And then when he went down to Orlando, he became superstar T-Mac.
That's when he became T-Mac. Remember, he wasn't known as T-Mac on the Raptors, really. We knew him as Tracy, but we didn't know him as T-Mac.
Yeah.
We knew he was a late because remember, I don't know if it's true, but I remember they used to say that him and Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady were like cousins or some shit like that.
Yeah, they're cousins.
Yeah, okay. So I didn't know. I remember they used to say that back in the day, but I feel like that's a highly missed situation because like you said, money in the league. Because T-Mac, there should be no reason why he ain't got at least 1 or 2 rings, dog.
Well, I know.
Like I said, the situation. Like I said, it comes to the situation, the stuff that he had to go through. Like you said, when Vince Carter came in and all this, and it had nothing to do with him. Like you said, it just goes more back to how stuff is handled. And like you said, I just feel like, not even like you said, it's more or less like the league need to stop doing that. All this.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. This is what the league needs to stop doing. Well, not the league. It's the people who talk NBA basketball. We got to stop comparing players of today from yesterday because the eras are so different. It's so different. The rules are so different. And we know, just like in life, evolution is going to happen.
It's going to change.
It's going to change. It's going to get better and better and better. So when you say, well, somebody from today could dominate back then, of course, because they got the training. A lot of those players had to work like daytime jobs. it wasn't just basketball 24/7 for them.
because they ain't making money like now.
Yeah, so they
See
could
LeBron
focus
and
on
AT&T commercials.
exactly. So I would say like if people want to say LeBron is the greatest, cool. If you want to say Jordan is the greatest, cool.
Ooh, it's all
The
opinionated.
it's all opinion. The fact that people still disrespect Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is still crazy to
That
me.
shows you how great he is.
You know, for what he has done his entire basketball life. You know,
Completely,
it's
and people
like
don't even realize how old he is and how long he's been around.
only
Like,
one guy could stop the sky hook. It was only one guy.
and couldn't he really stop it? He could slow it.
No, he could slow it, but he
Yeah,
he he basically
he was
if I have to
goaltending at the time, though. Like you said, when you compare today's where he was goaltending.
Will Chamberlain was goaltending back in the day? Because
Yeah. You tell me,
Will
yeah, when they
Chamberlain
played
had
each other, yeah, he goaltended a lot on Green. But like when you look at I'm telling you, look at the highlights. He goaltended a lot, but they all did it. Like I said, I can't just say it was just Wilt, but they all did. Like I said, the rules were different because the era was different too. So like even now, like how now it's a goaltend when you once the ball hits the backboard. Remember that was never a goaltend. If that motherfucker went above the rim, that shit getting thrown. It didn't matter. But now all of a sudden,
yeah.
as soon as it touched the backboard, it's a goaltend. I don't like that rule. I don't care no. I don't like that rule.
But it's just that, you know, you have a lot of analysts and you got a lot of people with a sports podcast talking about this. And I'll tell you right now, you could tell people lack respect for the players of the past. Because the one person like I've been listening to when it comes to these podcasts, the one person that I felt like is being disrespected the most is John Stockton.
Yeah, he's highly disrespected and underrated. Because like I said,
Because
people didn't watch him. They didn't see what he did. And especially like you say, I pops from Chicago and being a Bulls fan and all that, and like to see that and watch those actual finals like live as a child and see that and go through that and to see how John Stockton like he controlled the game. He
he
really
was
controlled
the
the game.
game.
Yes, he whatever when he had the ball, it was on him. And like and this is what I take back. Like I said, yes, Karl Malone is great, but I feel like sometimes he kind of did mess up John Stockton's momentum because Carl liked to kind of shoot too much. He always liked to do that little turnaround, But I feel like if he would have just drove a little bit more, I mean, the series could have been a little bit different against the Bulls. But
John Stockton could have averaged 20 and 15
yes,
if he really wanted to.
Easy, dog, easy.
But he knew his mindset of being a traditional point guard was to first get everybody involved, and then he
First,
could
get
go
my
get
team to
his.
win before I get mine. That's the whole point. Like, and people, and that's the one thing that Michael Jordan. That's what separates. This is one thing I can't say. Like I said, LeBron is definitely my favorite player, but the one thing that separates him from Michael Jordan and Kobe is that it's not even a killer instinct. It's the killer instinct against anybody. It don't matter if we was on the same team or what. It don't matter who the fuck it is. If we not on the same team right now, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna run it through you. LeBron don't. I feel like LeBron has never had that mindset because he tries to be too nice. He tries to keep this, this image.
I disagree because when he basically put the cap, not his first year, I think it was probably like his third year in the league when he basically put the Cavs on the map. I felt like he was trying to destroy his opponents. Like you saw it against Detroit, you saw it against Boston. He was trying to do it, but you could tell that the team around him, he didn't have it around him.
The reason why I say this about LeBron when it comes to that, because you will see, like, even then, during that time, you'll see, like, little clips of LeBron getting bumped by people or people getting his face. Didn't nobody do that to Michael or Kobe.
No, because would you wake up a beast?
Why wake up? You can't say LeBron's you telling me LeBron's not a beast? That's what I'm saying. That's what separates them. Because LeBron doesn't act like that. Like, if somebody bumped him, he'll act like it's nothing. Which I said, that could be a good trait, is a positive, which it is clearly, because like I said, his longevity is undeniable. But
I mean, let's just be honest. John Stockton had that same longevity too,
and that's what I was just about to say. The thing about John Stockton is, and a lot of people never seen that because John Stockton was a killer.
Yeah,
straight up killer. Like I said, the only thing he really, I would say, that went against him is he really didn't have a team like that other than just Carl. It was just him and Carl, literally. And there's a couple of players they had rotating out, but there was really nobody else who could get them quite over. Just like you had Michael Jordan and you had Rodman, but it wasn't. That's not. If it was just them, they would have never won championships. They always had that third, like Tony, Steve Kerr, Dennis Rodman. They always had that third, and I feel like that's what kind of was missing from Utah. The thing with the Pacers, they never even had a second, so it's like
the fact that they took the Bulls to 7 games with just Reggie Miller shows you the mentality of the players back then, because they wanted to go after you on the court.
I feel like that's what Steph Curry does.
Oh yeah.
But LeBron, he's never did that. Like, he doesn't come at you like that. He's never done that.
Klay Thompson does the same thing too.
I feel like Klay Thompson's a better player than Steph Curry. Yeah, Steph Curry's a better shooter, but overall, like,
because you got to think
Steph Curry, he wouldn't have none of them rings if it wasn't for Klay.
You got to think about what Klay does for that team too, because he plays both ends of the court.
He will put up. Had his first ejection. What was it, last night?
Yeah, he deserved one. As many years he played, and
so I said, sometimes let him have one.
Hey, look, everybody gets ejected. Let him get one. Let him feel what he probably didn't want to play there anyway. He just ready to go home. He was like, I've been in this league too long.
Like I said, I got my plenty of rings. My whole hand damn near filled up. I'm good. So
yeah,
he's chilling.
I mean, Devin Booker trying to get there, but he ain't there yet.
How you feel about Doncic?
That dude's a beast. I think what they need, I thought they should have kept Brunson and took the ball out of Luka's hand more so he could be more fresh down in the clutch. But I just think that, he might be the front runner for MVP depending on how the season goes. Yeah. It's just my opinion. But my only issue with him, his usage rate is way too high. It's the reason why when you saw him in the playoffs, especially against Golden State, he was worn out.
He was worn out. You could see it. He wasn't even playing the same. You could tell that he was tired.
And he was going against basically a bigger, more athletic defender than he was in the previous round. Because Andrew Wiggins was, even though y'all can say Luka was averaging,
I can't lie. Wiggins played defense though.
He played defense on him. He made it tough for Luka. Mm-hmm. Luka's going to get his because he's Luka.
But at the same time, Wiggins will too, though, because Wiggins he does his thing when it comes to being on that offensive side of the ball, not only playing defense. And that's why I said a lot of I was talking to my boy. He's a Golden State fan, and he was trying to say how he felt like Wiggins shouldn't deserve that contract. I was like, hell,
he deserved that contract.
Like what I was like, he plays defense. He's one of the best players on the team. He can score when he wants to. I was like, what are you talking about?
He's pretty much their second best player on the team. It was Klay. Klay is not back yet.
And he's been hurt so long. Like you said, he's not back yet. He's still trying to feel it. And yeah, you're right. Definitely right about that. I've never looked at it that way, but you're right. Andrew Wiggins is definitely the second best player on that team.
Because he proved it basically all playoffs long that, yeah, I'm going to guard whoever the best offensive player is, and I'm going to get mine. When you saw what he did against Luka in the conference finals, and then when you saw what he did against Tatum in the finals, he dominated Tatum.
Say it again, cuz. Tell her. What he do against Tatum in the finals? People didn't even realize that. They didn't even see that.
He took Tatum out the finals.
That's why they lost. That's one of the biggest reasons. It ain't why, but that's one of the biggest reasons why they lost. Like you said, because he took him out. The picture.
I did my podcast this past summer. Had a couple of my former teammates on, and we were actually talking about the finals. We all had the Warriors winning, right? I said if Tatum or Brown is out the series, they're going to lose.
It's done.
Because I felt like Andrew Wiggins, because of his size, his length, his athleticism,
everything he does,
he could guard one of those two guys and take them out. And the fact that Boston don't actually have a point guard and they're inexperienced going against the Warriors team, who is, they're champions. I mean, you can't deny it. They're champions. You can't take that away. even though they had some players that are inexperienced, but you still had Steph, Clay, Draymond, Looney, uh, Iguodala, and you got a head coach and a
And
coaching
Iguodala,
staff.
you already know he got defense too. He gonna do his thing too. You
So,
get his little six.
so you had, the culture, you have the championship pedigree on the other side, which obviously showed at the end where, you know, those guys they don't have to do as much because Steph pretty much took over the series really from the beginning, but it
Yeah,
was
you know how
it
it is
was
when it comes to him.
Wiggins. It was Wiggins' defense and what he did on both ends of the court. I felt like pretty much made them a better team.
And I have to agree with you on that because that was definitely a situation changer. Because like you say, even though Steph gonna do what he does, everybody knows that. But if Wiggins would have did everything that he did during that series, it would have definitely been a completely different series. It wouldn't have been the same. Wouldn't have been a blowout like that. Even without, like you said, without Brown or Tatum. But if Wiggins wouldn't have stepped up like he did, even if they were playing, I feel like it still would have been something similar. It may not been like that, but it would have been something similar because boy can hoop. He plays. He comes to play. He's not coming out here, for stats and none of that. He's trying to win.
And he had
Even
his best game. He had his best game in Game 5.
yes, one of his,
Because Steph,
if not ever.
Steph was like people say he had a bad game. Let's get this out the way. Steph did not have a bad game. He had a bad 3-point shooting night.
That's all. He had a bad shooting night. Not even a game, just a shooting night.
It was because he was like 50% from 2-point range. He was just 0
he had
from
like
9.
5 assists. What he had tonight? About 5, if not more than that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. But Andrew Wiggins basically said, you know what? He ain't hitting the 3. So be it. That man was killing them boys that night. They was like, we're going to ride off of this dude, even just for one game. Because, like, you know what? Steph probably deserves a night off. We can handle it. We on our home court. We got this.
We here for it. We got it.
And then come Game 6, we're going to close it out in their building. That's what Steph came along. He's like, you know what? No, I'm going to close it out right here.
Go ahead, shoot everything. Give me the ball. Yeah. Yak. I ain't even crossing the 3-point. I ain't even crossing half court. Yak.
So that's the thing. And you got to think their bench wasn't as good as Golden State's bench. You have Gary Payton II,
not at all.
Jordan Poole, Looney. That bench alone already taken out what Boston bringing in.
Boston has because they were hurt. Like you said, they were hurt as soon as they lost Tatum and Brown. Like after that point, like not even Tatum, and they had so much to fill in at that point. Like, and especially even if they're not not even just being hurt, but just for you to lose them even during the game. So now you can't fall back on anybody else. So now I don't have a bench. I forgot. What's your name again? Get in the game. That's kind of that's kind of how it be sometimes. And people like to laugh at that. Like, but it be like that sometimes. Like these coaches don't know half them players' names because they rotate in and out so much they don't know their names.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just how it is.
And like you said, it's how it is. But like you said, during that time, like, let me ask you this: do you feel like it would have been different if Tatum and everybody would have been in there for the Celtics?
The Celtics were healthy.
Yeah, they were, but I'm talking about as far as them playing. Cause the one thing I can say about the Celtics, they definitely didn't have their best series during that time.
Because Miami pretty much took it out of them.
Yeah,
because Miami took it to them. Miami took it to them, and Tatum played so many minutes.
I feel like
during that time period,
a little bit longer break sometimes, especially with how hard the conference finals can be.
Well, that's why you got to take care of business when you're supposed to take care of business.
Yeah, you are
because they missed 2 opportunities. Think about this. Hold on, before you go, think about this. This is why, when they say if you have a chance to put your stranglehold on them, you do it because they went 7 games. They went 7 games against Milwaukee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to the conference finals and play another 7-game series. So you playing 14 games, you're tired. So when you go into the finals, and you got to think, there was 2 opportunities in both of those series where they could have just
ended it quickly. Yeah,
ended it quickly.
They could have shut it down early,
that's on them.
But they did.
That's why Golden State was because they know what it takes to get to that point and say, you know what, let's get this over with so we can rest up for the finals. So that's what it was.
Definitely right about that because they were there, and you could see it too, especially when it came to the Celtics. You could see the fatigue in the team. Like the
And you
team was
gotta
just
think,
like, damn, dog. Like game what? This is game 17, 16. Like they
yeah.
were tired, dog. Like damn.
And yeah, I think too, they already have the playoff schedule out. So they already know when the finals is going to start. So now it could go round by round depending on how the series goes. But they know when the finals get there, they know when it's going to start. So um even with that layoff, like you said, if they would have extended it, they still would have been tired because they would have played more minutes than the
Yeah,
other team.
without a doubt. Well, let me ask you this: how would you feel like if the NBA went to a MLB type format where you don't play 7 games until the championship? So during the playoffs, every team you play is only the 3. So whoever gets the first 2 wins.
So
I feel
actually
like
what happened,
I feel like the championship would be way more competitive.
so this what happened. The problem was they changed the first round because it
Hmm.
used to be a best of 5.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that back in the day.
So they changed that to a best of 7. If they were to go back to the first round as a best of 5,
And I take that
and
back. I'm
then
sorry. No, yeah, that's what MLB is. I don't know why I said 2. It's a best of 5. Yeah, so
yeah,
whoever wins the first 3 games, that's how I feel like in the playoffs they should be like that. There's no reason to play 4 games when we're not in the championship.
but they do that for the pennant for the championship series in both leagues. It's a best of 7. So they
I mean, you can say that, but both leagues don't really play each other like that.
that's how the NBA is. Because you
I
gotta
mean, I know,
think.
but NBA is trying to follow the international rules, and they shouldn't. I feel like they should. Because if that's the case, then
uh,
our 3-point line should be shaped the same way it goes and all that. Because if
well,
you're
they
going to follow
actually
the rules, follow it like it is, because it looks nothing like how they hoop over there.
no,
So that,
no,
so
no,
that's
it's
what. But
not.
I feel like American basketball needs to just try to stop biting off of international ball. Yeah, even though the game is changing, yeah, let it change, but let it change into what the game we develop it, into. That's why we have the best players of basketball over here. you know yeah, now we're seeing it now because like we got all this social media, we have all this, everything to, as soon as you can see a hooper, you can put it up. With all those hoopers that you see, what happened to them, you don't even know. Like, what's his name, Mac McClung. Remember they used to talk about him, that little dude, that little, I forget.
Well, let's just be honest about him, right? He was
Oh,
a
why? We
borderline.
know why.
He was a borderline NBA player. He was borderline, right?
He was
Same
bigger than
thing with
he was a
same
lot bigger
thing.
than a lot of players he was playing with too. I feel like
It's,
he could hoop now, but he still kind of hoops with a college. He tries to hoop with a college mindset. Like, he looks at the floor like he's still playing college ball. He doesn't look at it like pro ball because the whole setup is different. It's not the same, especially with the way that the players run up and down the court. And and that goes back to what you said. Like you said, LeBron, he asked Westbrook, "Why, my nigga? You act like and even Beverly to come there. Why, like,
that
why you
team
have
that
you?"
we all know what the season is for LeBron. It's the same way they did Barry Bonds his last year in baseball. It was for him to break the all-time scoring record so
Well,
they
the
could
only
sell these
difference
tickets.
is you see what they did to Barry Bonds at the end of his career.
Yeah,
Feel like they would do something like that to LeBron because they already talk about now all of a sudden they got this girl coming out. LeBron never did nothing. Now all of a sudden he messed with another woman.
I never
You know
heard
what I'm saying?
that.
Yeah.
This is news to me.
I mean, yeah,
So
I just heard, like, without it, I just heard this today. That's why I said that has to be a lie. I was like, ain't no way. I was like, this man been in the league this long and he did all this stuff. There's no way he's gonna mess up something right now. I was like, that has to be a lie. But like, as
nah,
far as
it's
like the league,
but that's how it is. It's just like the way they treating this season. We know the Lakers ain't going nowhere this season. Let's just call it
no,
what it is. So they treating
facts.
this like we're keeping LeBron here to sell these tickets so he could break the all-time scoring record in our jersey. That's just how it is.
Let me
Same
ask
thing
you
with
this.
Barry
So
Bonds.
let's say if he does beat Kareem's record, like, where would you put LeBron in the greatest of all time? Like
He'll
list
still
yours, just yours. Like I said,
he'll
just yours.
still be he'll
Number
still
two.
be number two on my list.
Okay, I feel you. And like I
I
said,
still
people,
have
a lot of people take defense of that. Like this, I was like, man, dog. Like, come on, man.
I'm
It's
a
different
student of
eras.
I'm a student in the game of basketball, and I listen. If you want to have LeBron number one on your list, okay, so what? You're not gonna get offend me, But the only two, realistically, if I have to say who's my top two, the reason I only put number two for LeBron, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why I put him number two. Because realistically, if I had it my way, it'll be Jordan one, Kareem two, LeBron three. That would be my list. And I wouldn't be mad if somebody put Kareem one,
Yeah,
Jordan two,
flop it over.
and
Yeah,
I have no problem. Like, I feel like Kareem would be like,
he still would
I
be
think
unstoppable today.
he'll,
They have
yeah.
a, they have an issue with Bobo and his height. Imagine if you would have played with Kareem, somebody who actually had finesse and knew how to actually dribble the ball, being 7+ feet tall, and do all this stuff. I was like, Kareem could dunk. He could do everything. He rebound. He knew how to pass the ball. He knew how to look at the court. He knew everything. I was like, he was like a he was I don't even know what you would call it, a point center.
Well,
Shit.
I tell you what. Before we get out of here,
I
I
feel
just want
you.
to go over one other topic. I know this this guy has been in the news lately for a lot of controversy. Kanye West, for the stuff that he's saying, the stuff that he has done, and stuff like that. But I just feel as if, how do you feel about Kanye in that whole situation?
As far as Kanye go, I put it this way. It's like I can see what he's trying to do, but you're not going about it the right way when it comes to people. Second.
Go
Can
ahead.
you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
my
got you.
fault. I thought it was me. Yeah, no. I can see what he's trying to do, but I feel like he's been going about it the wrong way as far as trying to appeal. And not even saying that he's been going about it the wrong way, period. But as far as he's been going about it the wrong way, as far as trying to appeal to black people, which is his main and his literally his pretty much the source of what all his that's the reason why you are Kanye is because us. But like everybody looking at him now, remember, they had the interviews where he was talking all that shit about Adidas, and now Adidas has dropped him. You remember he tried to say, yeah, they can't drop me. Yeah, he said that, and Adidas did drop him. I was like, but and everybody talking shit. Remember, he said Adidas couldn't drop. I was like, do you understand how much money Adidas has to pay him now?
What does that matter to him? That's some change to him.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Now, even immediately, what was one of the first things? I don't, like I said, I don't know if you look on the internet or just log into the internet. One of the first things that'll pop up as far as a headline is Kanye West taking off the billionaire list now that Adidas has dropped him. The nigga's still a billionaire without them, regardless. So what are you talking about? And I feel like man, it's so hard to put it because it's like I can almost see where he's coming from in some of the stuff that he's saying, but his antics, all the stuff you try to put on top of it, and how you act, that's some of the stuff you got to chill out on if you want the people that you're trying to actually touch to relate to what you have going on. Yeah, you want them to be on a higher and think on a higher level, but they're not quite there yet. So don't act like they're there. You can't do that. It's like a mama popping a child for the very first time hard as hell, like smacking the taste out their mouth for something that they didn't even know was wrong. And that's how I feel like he's acting when it comes to people who don't know no better. And especially with as much power as you have and the many people that you can reach out to and touch, yeah, I can see with some of the stuff that you're saying, even in the whole Trump and this. But what I found funny was how now, even after all the past little crazy controversial stuff that you said, it's even worse than what you just said. But now all of a sudden you getting dropped.
It's just, he has this pattern.
Yeah.
I think he just I'm not understanding. I think that's what my biggest problem is. I have no understanding because it's like he's over here 1 minute and then the
And he's
next
over
minute
there.
he's over there. It's like, you know, you got to pick a side. You know, stick to
That's
what
why I
side
can't fuck
that
with him. Like
you know.
if you want to defend, I can't. Like that's why I can't because of that. Because you can't be on two sides and or act one way and then try to act this way and then try to say it's because you were trying to do this and show this and that. Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from, but you still doing it wrong, dog. Like stop. Like shut up. You
And
don't
for
need to say nothing
people
else.
and for people say he's doing all this stuff to get out of this contract, I'm like, why would you sign the contract to begin with? Because
The thing about it,
he
that's
just went into Skechers, their headquarters, and no invite went up in there and he got escorted out. So if you leaving Adidas, why are you going to Skechers?
because you know he has a lawsuit against Reebok. They stole a lot of his designs for Yeezys, which they did. Like when you look at their shoes now, they kind of look like Yeezys. When you look at Reeboks, they have like that little swoop. You know how they look.
Yeah.
I don't like the shoes personally myself. Like I said, I don't like them. That's all I say. It ain't even like I fuck with Kanye like that, but I can see what, like I said, I can see where he's coming from. But like you said, I can definitely see where you coming from because, like my nigga, you saying one thing and then at the same time you want to be over here and then here at the same time and then while you over here and over there at the same time, while you talking from over here and over there, now you in the middle and you trying to say more like it. Yeah, he's. I feel like he's a. You say a distraction.
Well, it's becoming that way.
Yeah,
I think he's doing
that's a better way of putting it.
I think personally he's doing what the Kardashian family was known for, just to keep their name in the news, in the media.
Yeah.
I mean,
Same way that Kim K was the only thing that she was literally known for was sucking dick, and then she became the most famous woman on this planet without a doubt. The same thing with Marilyn Monroe. She pretty much was doing the same thing. The only difference was there was no Snapchat or Instagram or any of that, but she was just with the president. You know.
I mean, listen, if you get a president,
I mean, I feel you on that, but see, but at the same time, now you got to bring in the situation the same way. If Kim K, if she can get somebody like Kanye, which everybody already knew, because he was already making everybody's in the rap games beats, producing everything. So so when it came, like you said, but they were smart. You know, they just knew how to work the business. I feel like it's like you said, he's definitely going off of that blueprint.
yeah.
The Kardashian blueprint, without a doubt, because they pops was smart.
Well, you know, that's all thing we could do now is wish the best for Kanye. You know,
Without a doubt, that's the only thing I wish for. I don't wish no negativity on anybody. Like I said, just like you were saying, man, be more consistent with what you're saying, dog. Don't be all over the place and try to say one thing and then it's like actually if you're trying to say something, then just say it.
yeah.
You know, stop doing everything that you're doing now. And he wonder why a lot of people don't respect him or like him, like dog, because you act funny. We don't even know because anything that come out your mouth. And funny is keeping it light, but it's like we don't even know if we can trust anything that come out your mouth.
I don't think people actually know the real truth because people believe him, and you got some people that don't believe. I don't think people actually know the real truth.
And that's the only reason why I say funny now, because and when I say funny, that's for the people who don't really know the truth and exactly what he's trying to say. And that's what that goes back to, because like he has to try to speak to us on a level to where, not us, but us as a people. He got to try to speak to us to where we can understand. Yeah, we know all this stuff. We be in it, we pay attention to all these podcasts and look at all this stuff, but most people don't see that. As soon as they see Kanye and they see him saying that stupid stuff, they want to blow him off. I don't hear nothing that he has to say because he all antics.
That's what it is.
Listen to what you have to say, period, because you're pretty much acting like a child.
Well, we're gonna leave it at that. We just wish the best for him, and
big Kanye.
I don't know. I just wish the best for him. I hope everything works out for him, and stuff like that. But I was gonna leave it at there. So we're coming to the end of the episode, man. Before we get out of here, I just gotta remind people to continue to follow Drinking After Dark Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and make sure y'all subscribe to Drinking After Dark Podcast YouTube channel. Also, if you want to sponsor Drinking After Dark podcast, please send a DM to Facebook or Instagram to Drinking After Dark podcast. And also, if you want to be a guest, same way, send a DM to Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook and Instagram. So, cuz I usually give my guests the last word, to say whatever, anything that's on their mind or whatever. So I'm just gonna give you the last word, and the floor is yours.
Sir, yes, sir. Like I said, I've definitely been very invited, and you already know what it is. Anytime. Like I said, I'm willing to be on here. If you need anything to talk about, let me know. It's definitely been a very enjoyable experience. It's been great being on the show, man, and especially to actually talk with somebody who actually knows what they're talking about when it comes to certain sports and certain things. A lot of people like to take stuff literal. Oh, well, they got the small details, but I just at the end of the day, we know where it comes from. But it's like it's been great. I loved it, cause like I said, anytime, man. Anytime you need somebody on the show, man, just hit me up. I will definitely be here, man. I've had a great night. Like I said, what they say, drinking after dark.
Definitely,
We gonna toast to that.
definitely, y'all make sure y'all drink responsibly too, man. Don't
Yes, sir.
don't
Gonna be
overdo
out
it.
there driving. That's why I'm at home now. Gonna be out there
Definitely,
driving.
definitely. Yeah, I definitely will bring you back on. Yeah, we're gonna do this again probably in another month and a half or so. So we'll do this again. And it will be different topics this time. It's gonna
Sir.
be something different. But until next time, everybody, this is your boy Darius from Drinking After Dark Podcast, and we out. Peace.
Yes, sir.
Gotta get to the money. Gotta get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. So you know that I'm on it. Gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and me. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. And gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and they. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money.